I'd like to talk about criminal investigations, which is a topic that's near and dear to my heart because there are few times that I can so profoundly affect my client's life as if I can get involved in their case early on in the investigation process. From a criminal defense attorney's perspective, a criminal investigation really is any time that you're being investigated by a police officer and they haven't arrested you yet. Although they can still collect evidence after they've arrested you, they have an obligation by law to tell you that you have a right to counsel, you have a right to remain silent, and they have to warn you that anything you say can and will be used against you in a court of law. What's important to realize is before you're arrested, you have those same rights. They just don't, by law, have to tell you that. And so you have to realize that when you're under a criminal investigation, you do have a right to talk to a lawyer. You do have a right to remain silent. And you do have to realize that any statement that you give that police officer will come back at you at some future point. So you have to be very careful about what you say and what you know up front in an investigation case. If you make a statement while you're being investigated and you're charged and you later say, well, wait a minute, actually that wasn't totally accurate, what you've just done is set up the dynamics for somebody else, generally a jury or a judge, to believe you lied. So it's really important when you're giving a statement to any state agent or federal agent for that matter, that you realize that you're chipping into stone what your story is. So you better be very careful with what you say. Police officers up front in investigation stages are almost always very nice, but that's their role. They're playing a personality, or they're talking to you in a way that does what they are paid to do, which is to get you to give information, collect facts and evidence, and investigate crime. At no point, even if they appear friendly, are they friendly. They are just simply doing their job. And I respect them for that. That being said, you have rights, and you also can tell an officer, I'd like to talk to a lawyer, and do so. Why do it? As a criminal defense attorney, I have an enormous body of information and wisdom about cases starting from the investigation case stage all the way through the end. I have handled, at this point, thousands of criminal law cases, and I have acquired a lot of wisdom about the process, standards of proof, etc. When you seek counsel with a lawyer, and it's part of the reason I believe lawyers used to be called counselors at law, you are accessing that enormous body of wisdom to apply to your specific fact situation or what's going on with you. And that's why attorney-client privilege applies to any of these conversations. It's a unique environment where my clients can tell me anything they want, and I can't tell anybody else about it. And they can access all my experience and my wisdom about the criminal system to help them navigate their problem. I can also do a lot of other things. I can arrange for professional evaluations that will assist the case. I can make arrangements potentially for the police officer to come in and take a recorded interview of my client. I can arrange for bail bondsmen up front. I can do a lot of other things I do for my clients to make sure that they are in the best position possible, whether they're charged or not. When I have a client give a statement to the police officers, I have had, and this is not a promise to anybody, but I have had an enormous amount of success because I have thoroughly vetted my client about the facts and circumstances. And they have agreed, and I have agreed, that everything that's being told, at least they've told me, is the truth. And factually, it all adds up properly. And in a unique set of circumstances where that perfect storm arises, it's a great time to give a statement to a police officer because we have assessed what's going on. My client and I have assessed what's going on. And we're comfortable with the judgment call of telling the police what's happening. If you're giving a statement to police officers before you've done that, it's kind of a dart throw. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what's been written down the right way. You don't know what biases is in place. And it's really, at the end of the day, based on my experiences and based on what I know, foolish to do so. I hope this helps people understand what the role is that investigating police officers have, why they're pleasant, why they're just doing their job but doing it well, and what the counterbalance is, what the check and balance really is of having a counsel at law bound by attorney-client privilege to talk to about a matter, whether you've done something wrong or not, before you talk to police. And that's really kind of the nutshell about criminal investigations that I think everyone should know.